Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Growth Class. And when you think of destination retail and brands that have stood the test of time, Terry Costa is a name that immediately comes to mind. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Tina Loyd, who is instrumental in the success and the growth of this legendary brand. She didn't found the brand, but she's taken it to a different level. So we're going to discuss the challenges of staying relevant, how to foster deep connection and to your customer base. So Tina, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking the time to come on.
Thank you for having me, Phil.
Yeah, sure. Why don't you take us back? Because I just mentioned that you didn't found the brand, but you were with it for quite a long time. And then, what you've done in the past, how you got to where you are today, and where you've taken the brand.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Yes, Terry Costa Inc.'s been around for 40 years. We just had our 40th anniversary on April the 25th. So, and I've been with the brand for about 26 years. I originally met Terry Costa, the founder, back in the 90s. She was one of my clients on the wholesale side. I eventually went to work for her, earned a percentage of the business while working for her for 6.5 years, and bought her percentage out with an SBA loan. And she actually stayed on as a mentor for a few years after that. And then she eventually retired. And we basically have been growing the brand ever since. So we've grown at an average of about 15% each year since 2007 was when I bought it. And so it's been an adventure ever since. We've expanded. We were about 13,095 square feet, and we expanded to nearly 17,000 square feet. Also built an online store. We didn't have online before. Now we do. So it's been a growing evolution over time.
So when you bought it, it was she had just been focused on the store primarily, right? Her own
Yes.
store.
Yes. That was 2007. So that was, before the iPhones and all that. Yes.
But we still had e-commerce in 2007. So that was.
Yes, but not like we do now, but yes.
So then you took it over and you really laid out a path for growth, right? So you
Yes.
saw something that she didn't see at the time.
I did. There was a lot of improvements, and she was at the point in time where she was ready to retire, that, around 65. And there was just a lot of, as far as improvements structurally that needed to be done, computer systems that needed to be done, which is a constant evolution. And so there's a lot of improvements that needed to be made. Everything's been twice as hard as I thought, but we're still we're still headed in the right direction.
Yeah. And so why did you decide to use e-commerce? Was there something that you saw in the numbers, or something that you saw an opportunity?
There was an opportunity. I immediately wanted to do an e-commerce once I bought it, but the e-commerce is still only 10% of the business. The brick-and-mortar is still the majority of the business. But it does it, a bit over 1 million, but it's still a small portion of the business. It was an opportunity. There was a store called Prom Girl that did extremely well at that time. They've since claimed bankruptcy and not done so well, because there was, obviously after COVID and everything, was a very challenging time for many people. But there was an opportunity, so that did put us out, and we're trying to grow that still, which allows us to go more on a national stage.
But I mean, your e-commerce site, it may just be a small percentage of the business, but it also gives you a bigger presence online, because then people, if they're searching for it, even in the local area near you, they find the website, and then it sort of drives them into the store.
Yes, it does. It does. So, it does help with that outreach for sure.
What about channels? What about other channels? Are you just selling in your own store and on e-commerce, or are you selling wholesale to other retailers?
No, we're not selling wholesale to other retailers. I did travel over to China last year solo for the first time to produce our own line, our own exclusive line, which we launched this spring. So that's a new exciting adventure, kind of allowing Terry Costa Inc. to go full circle of 360. For those who have been in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for a long time, know that Terry started off with Victor Costa, which was a designer in the 80s and used to manufacture here in Dallas. So we're actually trying to get back into manufacturing ourselves. We're not selling to other retailers. It is on a product that is exclusively for Terry Costa's brick-and-mortar store and our website, just allowing that customer so we can have a higher level of service, offer a better price point, and also have more control factor over the product and more exclusivity with the product, so it's not such a saturated product in the marketplace.
Were you always manufacturing in China, or is that new?
That was brand new. That was a brand new adventure. It was just go now or it's going to be too late.
How come you made that decision and not manufacturing in the States or closer to home, like Mexico?
We really wanted to manufacture in the States, but the price point was just not comparable. But the most important element, the talent, we just weren't able to find the talent to do for the type of dresses we do. We're talking about horse hems, lots of beadwork. We can produce a simple dress here in the United States for the same price, for, a similar price, but you're not going to be able to provide what you're going to need for a prom dress, essentially. So, or a wedding dress for that matter, unless it's just a very simple silhouette.
So was that the first time that you went to China to negotiate or find a manufacturer? Did you have a manufacturer? Or did somebody introduce you to a manufacturer?
It was a brand new adventure. So I visited 7 factories while I was over there. And I'm really glad I did it. It was very much an educational process.
But did you have somebody that was helping you introduce you to the factories, or did
I
you
did have a guide when I went over there. I did hire a guide to help out. Yes.
But who found the factories, you or the guide?
A little bit of both.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
it's interesting the way that it works, or the way that I've been involved with a number of companies that manufacture in China that usually around the outskirts of Hong Kong. It's in China, but mostly on the shaving and electronic side, which are all sort of clustered in one area. And it's amazing the difference in quality of the manufacturing facility itself. It's amazing. You can visit 12 different factories and you'll find 12 different levels of quality, in my opinion, from what I've seen. So it's interesting, that whole piece of finding the right manufacturer, finding the right partner, getting the product over here, especially now between, the price of fuel, the tariffs, et cetera. I don't know how you're shipping, but if you're shipping like once a year, twice a year, or quarterly or whatever, but it gets a little, it takes talent, let's say, to do the forecasting correctly, to get the right product, the right time, to get it over here. Because if you miss, right, the time on water, or, air freight is expensive, but the time on water can be, 30 to 45 days.
Yeah, so it was the logistics were extremely challenging, to say the least. And the dress business is similar in the aspect that, everything is sort of in the area and you've got different levels. I mean, you've got different levels of factories, and that was part of the decision-making process too, how's this factory run? What's, the ethics code here? What's going on? And there was vast differences, but, overall, I was pleasantly surprised, believe it or not, based upon what different than what everyone else says. There wasn't the, harsh working conditions or anything of that nature, in my opinion, versus what we experience here in the United States. So I didn't find hardly any of that. Only really one factory.
No, I think when it, like I said, I mean, I think it depends on, that whole thing about harsh conditions depends on really the category that you're in, and, what part of China you're in.
Right.
So like usually when it comes to the high volume and the high value products, the ones that require skill levels like yours, where you're talking about the intricate beadwork and things like that, you're not going to find harsh conditions. It's the throwaway, fast fashion, inexpensive stuff that you see on, you know, these other websites that where it's extremely cheap. That's where people talk about it, and also in other Southeast Asia countries where, you know, maybe the standards are a little bit lax. But I think China has had so many problems that the brands have sort of forced them to clean up.
Yes, yeah. One factory was really cute. It even had classes for children there,
Yeah,
and they were really cute with little dolls. I mean, like you would put your friend's daughter in there. I mean, it was just really adorable.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny. I spent quite a lot of time in China, but we were there for about 3 weeks and all over the country looking for different things, and it's amazing. It's a huge country. I mean, you don't really realize it until you go from like, you know, Beijing in the north all the way down to like Hong Kong and then over to Shanghai. It's just like, my God, you know, it takes forever. But yeah, it's great. I think that that whole decision model of where to manufacture, how to manufacture, and you know, isn't always based on cost. Like you said, it's not always based on cost. It's based on the skill level. And that's always a point that people miss in the conversation, is that sometimes we just don't have that skill level, you know?
Yes, and it's becoming, less and less here in the United States, unfortunately, because it's just not a skill that's taught these days, and it's not really a profession that a lot of people want to go into. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have plenty of, I don't have a lot of experience in the fashion world, but I've done enough to know how the whole process works. Because when we were on the shopping channels, we helped, you know, with Forbes Riley's athletic leisure line. We did a couple of other ones, Nick Virios and things like that. And, you know, we started with people in New York to try and help us. But what wound up happening is, you know, everything just, you can do some work in New York, but then everything gets moved to China. And it's just, in the normal fashion world, I mean, you're more specialty, but in the normal fashion side of it, when you're dealing with like every day, you really have to be almost a year out in your projections, because if I'm talking about spring today or summer today, I've got to be thinking about what I'm going to do for summer next year to bring it in. And I think that's a whole unique skill set, because you really have to know that business. You have to really have spent a long time in the fashion world dealing with, you know, factories abroad in order to get it down, because one bad move and it could kill you.
yes, yeah, it is very challenging. You have to, and you don't really know until it happens. But of course, you got to be able to jump on it and react very quickly. So you have to be able to change very quickly if you had it wrong. So adjust accordingly. So it's a little bit of an art and a science combined together, but it is extremely risky. I tell my financial advisors I can't take any more risk. It's all maxed out in the business.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So most of your sales are just coming from the store still.
Yeah, yes, they're coming from the brick and mortar store. We're very fortunate in the effect that we feel like people really want to have the experience when they come to shop, because we are a very memorable moment. I mean, you only get so many proms, hopefully only one wedding, maybe two. No, you
Hopefully
get
only one wedding.
not a whole lot, all right? So you get a few of these occasions. They're very important, and we're honored when our guests come in to share these important memories with us. And so, it's our job to make them feel beautiful, confident, powered. It's their time to shine. So they really want the experience. There's along
Sure.
with the, say yes to the dress, which has built up the publicity and the experience of it. So, we are really just feeding into that, especially with our expansion to try to make it more of a personalized type service for each guest that arrives. So that they really have a great time when they're here.
And it's a long sales process, because nobody makes decisions that quickly when it comes to their wedding dress or their prom gown. It's usually they've got to look.
It really depends on the person. We have people that make decisions really quickly. And then we also have people that will take days and long time months. We call them visitors, but it really just depends on the individual. Some people can come in and out, and some don't.
Is it anything special at the store that you do to make people, because they're paying a tremendous amount of money, right, for the dress?
Well, we have a wide variety of price points. So and I mean wide. We have like as low as like, you know, 99, with most falling around 200, all the way up to 10,000 plus with the couture collection. And then the medium price point for a prom dress is about $600. The medium price point for a bridal gown is about $1,500. So, and it can range anywhere in between depending upon, if we're in sale mode, which we are now for the 4th of July, or we are, it's prime season and you want a custom couture. So it really depends. To answer your question, what makes us unique is, number one, we try to listen to our customers, and everyone's always welcome at Terry Costa. We, have things to help with the experience, such as, we have a couple of runways, we got the great lighting. So we really try to make it a fun experience. Our consultants are well trained, and educated. Many of our consultants have been with us for well over a decade. So the majority of the core team has been with us for over 5 years. And so they go through a whole program. Even when we hire our seasonal team members in for our prom season, we have a 2-month program that they have to go through before they're introduced to customers. So we really work hard in trying to train them, make them educated on body types, styles, what's going to work best, coloring, all those variables, so that, you're working with an educated stylist.
Yeah. So when you took over the business and you started going, right, you took an SBA loan and you really put yourself out there. Was there ever a point in time where you thought, oh my God, I made a mistake? This
Well,
isn't going to
yeah.
work?
Yes. Absolutely. About, the first few months to 6 months I was like, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? It was during the recession as well. Things were really, really tight as far as cash flow was concerned, and money. And I remember one time my uh, bookkeeper put 300,000 worth of bills on my desk, which seemed like an enormous amount. And I bought the business for less than that, to put it in perspective. Um, I was like, what am I going to do? And all I can remember is going out on the sales floor and just hustling it for all it was worth. But it really came back down to, sucking it up. I mean, in the first 3 years, I mean, for your guests, the first 3 years, I took a sniff. My pay went down about half from what it was when I was working from Terry for 3 years. So you really have to make those sacrifices in the beginning. So yeah, I mean, I even I was like, "Oh, geez, what did I do?" But then you get to a point where, you get up and you do it, and, you push yourself, and sometimes you think, "I can't go any more steps," and then for me, I pray about it, and, you know what? I can go a few more steps, and I can keep going, and you just really have to take that mentality, "I'm going to go, and I'm gonna try at this even if it kills me."
Yeah.
I mean, I know that sounds extreme and it's crazy for just a dress business, but, it is challenging. So you've got to be ready to put it first. Yes.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's extreme for the dress business. I mean, it's sort of the same way for any business. You have a crossroads. You're either going to keep going, or you're just going to walk away. I mean, that's the difference between, success and not success. I mean, I've watched plenty of entrepreneurs start a business and then they hit that first wall and they go, this isn't for me. And they, walk away. They could even walk away. I've watched people walk away when they were 10 steps away from success and just, fall apart. I've watched people fall apart in a business to the point where they don't want to do it anymore, but they also don't want anybody else to succeed at it. And they almost self-sabotage themselves in the business. So, I mean, there's all kinds of people out there. So what you're saying it's absolutely true. You have to come to a decision with yourself to say, am I going to keep pushing through or am I just going to fold?
So yeah, at some point you've got to do that. Not that it stops, and then you get to a certain point, and you learn the large responsibility that you have of trying to make a positive impact on the lives around you, your team members, and obviously your customers and your clients. And then you're at the stage where you're trying to build something bigger than yourself, and you're trying to get it to operate without you. So that's the hard step.
Yeah,
That's where I am
absolutely.
now.
So, that comes to the next big question is, what do you think your biggest problem, your biggest hurdle is right now for growth
Well,
or running the business?
right now, one of my largest challenges right now is we're trying to implement a new CRM system, and it's been relatively challenging. So I spent all morning. So it is, we're very niche. We're like a big fish in this little baby pond, and we're trying to develop our own custom system here that allows us to do certain things. That's not just something off the shelf, and I thought we'd gotten through the hard part, but we haven't. So we're marching our way through. So that's kind of my largest challenge. But there's constant challenges, and you've just got to expect that. I mean, if there's not a problem, something's wrong. You're not busy enough. Something's There's gonna be problems. So, every day creates a new challenge. And then, of course, we're all challenged with implementing AI and finding the right way to implement it and not too much. So, we're exploring new territories. It's like um, uncharted waters. It's kind of like during COVID, you had no idea what was next. And then you just kept going. So that's my philosophy. Just keep going.
Yeah, I think one of the problems you just mentioned AI, and I think one of the problems with AI is today, and I see it all the time, is the bright, shiny complex, right? There's all these people out there pitching AI products that are unproven by people that have never done it before. They don't know what problem they built. I equate it to this. They built a product and they're trying to find a solution that fits the product instead of finding the solution and building an AI product. Like we built an AI product, but I don't want to talk about it on this, but we did it because we have an agency and we were trying to solve a specific problem and we did it for ourselves. And then it turned out that we did such a good job with it. We turned it into an actual product that we help people with. But most of the AI stuff that I see out there it drives me insane because it's just slop. But that's just my personal opinion.
Right, right. Well, I understand that. I think, everyone's got to keep the foundation that you've got to focus on what's important. And what's important is the customer, the client, and giving them great service, giving them a great experience, getting a product that they want, that they enjoy at a competitive price point, and being able to service that customer and create and for us an experience, a time for them to shine. So I think you have to keep your core and you keep what's driving you, and then you find all the tools that are going to help you do that. And so those are the things we can't get. But it is, it's easy to get caught up in like, oh, wow, look what it did.
Well, yeah. People come with all kinds of things. The biggest problem I have look, I love AI. Don't get me wrong. We've been dealing with it for about 7 years in different ways. And I love certain things. I love the analytics side of it. I love, the ability to do mundane tasks and take that away. What I don't like, and I think it's destructive, is people that are touting the creation of content with AI, like video imagery, because that'll just destroy your brand because it's inauthentic. And I don't think any consumer focused brand does it work for real estate? Absolutely. Does it work for, industrial? Absolutely. But when it comes to consumer facing products, you always have to make your content. You have to make the video. You have to make the content. Now, you can get the ideas from AI. You can do all kinds of things, but you should never use, in my opinion, you should never use, as a marketer, as a consumer product marketer, you should never use AI to put it in front of the customer. The customer rejects it and they don't like it. And there's so many brands out there today that are saying the same thing I'm saying, which is we're not going to do it. So,
Right. I think that's an excellent point, especially for us because there's a lot of knockoffs, there's a lot of copies, and so I mean, for us, staying authentic and being real is really important. And we have to sometimes, you have to push a lot of people away. Like, hey, you can get this in just a different color. Just hit this button. It's like, oh, it's not exactly the right color. It's but it is a struggle, but yeah, I think in order to keep the quality that, AI can only help us with so much at this time.
yeah, I agree with you. Well, we're about out of time. Any parting words for young women that are trying to get into business? Anything that, any thoughts or ideas that you may have?
I can't say I've got anything brilliant other than just, continuing stepping forward each day, believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself, go with your gut, let God guide you, and keep on going.
Yeah. And people can find you where? terrycosta.com?
That's correct, at terrycosta.com. That is our website. We're also located at Preston and 635 in the southwest corner here in Dallas, Texas.
All right. That's fantastic. Well, thanks. I appreciate you coming on and taking the time, and good luck to you. And I look forward to speaking to you in the future.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.